How do you know when it's time to let go and move on? If you're in a dilemma that's creating a lot of confusion for you right now, a lot of stress, it's keeping you awake at night and you have no idea what to do. You feel like you've hit a brick wall. Alternatively, you might be someone who has been fixated on a specific outcome for a long time, perhaps a relationship or a career breakthrough, and you've been doing everything within your power to make it come about, but it just seems to keep escaping you, and you have no idea whether or not to keep going or just forget the whole thing and walk away. If this sounds like you are in the right place. You found the right video, because today I'm going to be explaining to you, first of all, the biggest misunderstanding there is about what it means to let go when referring to the law of attraction. And two, I'm going to be explaining three very clear, specific signs that you can identify with right now that will guide you and help you to make the right decision that comes from a place of love rather than fear. And if you stay right until the end of the video, I'm going to be pulling a How to Love Yourself Louise Hay affirmation card, which is something that I have been doing now in all of my videos, pulling affirmation cards. I do it with my clients as well, and I've always had wonderful feedback about the intuitive messages that I receive and how the people on the receiving end feel guided and loved and blessed, and it actually helps them when they stick with those words to help them shift that perception in regards to what we've been discussing. Just as a quick note, I'm going to be using relationships as a benchmark for this video with the examples that I give, but please know that the fundamental principles of what I'm describing, the three signs, are applicable to every single aspect of your life. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And if you need to fill in the blanks with your own circumstances, let's say it's career or, I don't know, emigrating, then you'll know intuitively what applies and what doesn't so much. Okay, but please note it is all relevant and it is exactly the same fundamentally when we're talking about energy and the law of attraction. Okay, so first of all, what does it mean to let go? How the hell do you let go of something that you want so much? It doesn't make sense, right? It's completely counterintuitive. Well, the biggest misunderstanding that people have over the whole letting go thing when it comes to manifesting is that you are not letting go of the desire. Okay, the desire to love and to be loved and to have lots of money in your bank account and live in a beautiful house, that's not what you're letting go of. To be happy, to feel fulfilled and relaxed and wake up every morning and be excited about the day ahead, that's not what's being let go of. It's the stress and the strain and the struggle and the disrespect and the heartbreak, the worrying, the fretting, the exhaustion, the, trying to push against something that is just not budging. That's what it means by letting go. And a lot of people, they don't quite understand that. They understand it intellectually, where they think, yeah, okay, I'm just going to let go and see what happens and surrender and trust the universe. And that's all well and good. I've done videos very specifically about those topics, which you can check out. I'll leave the links below. So none of that is a contradiction whatsoever. But in terms of letting go, what you're letting go of is the discord which is preventing your manifestation from coming about. Okay, so before we go any further in this video, I want you to really kind of just take a few minutes and think, okay, that is what I'm letting go of here. So from now on, whenever I say letting go, that's what I'm referring to, is letting go of the shit basically, and not the desire, the love, the happiness, the joy, the peace, the abundance, and so on. I've seen so many examples of women that I've worked with, women who are friends, both professionally and personally, and myself. I have, on a first-hand basis, been in this dilemma where I've wanted a relationship to work out, and yet on the other hand, it's actually been causing me so much upset and depression and despair and just feelings of unworthiness. So the first sign that it is time for you to let go and move on is exhaustion. If you are completely exhausted and you just feel like you're spent, your needs are not getting met, everything you're doing on a daily basis is spent on what other people want, what that particular special person is asking and expecting of you. If you feel like everything is just going out, 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 the focus, the attention, the energy, the time, the love, if it's all outwards but there's nothing coming in, it is time for you to let go and to move on. And again, letting go, moving on, take it as it resonates. But in terms of a relationship, if you're with someone who is depleting all of your energy, do I mean it's time for you to say, right, that's it, let's call it a day, I want to break up, I never want to see you again, I'm going to block you on my phone? No. Letting go and moving on in terms of mentally and emotionally is pretty much you sitting back and saying, I need to focus on me right now. And that's not even something that you need to say verbally. It's a decision that you're making. I need some time for me. I need some restoration, some relaxation, and some time to just recuperate and reflect on where it is that I am and what I need to do moving forward. Once you've created that space for yourself, not only will you feel 10 times better and you will feel more energized, but you will have more clarity. So then you will know what to do next in terms of that bigger picture and where the relationship is heading. You don't need to make any huge monumental decisions right now. So letting go and moving on in terms of saying, right, I'm taking a step back here, that is what you're doing. And the number one sign for you to do that is, as I mentioned, if everything is just literally flowing out and none of it's coming back, none of it's being reciprocated, okay? And that is quite usually the case when it comes to, and I don't want to be sexist here because I know men are victim to the same thing in relationships, but usually it is women who tend to fall into this trap where they meet someone and it's wonderful at first, and then the cracks slowly start to appear within sort of maybe a couple of weeks. There's little things like, oh, you know, he's not messaging me back, I haven't heard from him all day, and then boom, he suddenly calls out of nowhere and the woman goes running off, running to be at his and running to see him and dropping everything that she's been doing just to make time for him. And like, hey, listen, I'm not judging. I completely get it. I've done it myself and it's just incredible the stuff that we as women are not only privy to doing, but we are expected to do. And it's just, yeah, it's just not on. It's not okay. Like, your time, your energy, and the love that you have to give and to share is just as valuable. So direct it towards yourself. Okay, make that decision now to make some time for you and make it a priority, because it is the most important aspect of all. When it comes to the law of attraction, if you understand anything about self-love, you will know that it is a fundamental part of the manifesting process, and it will help you actually make progress in terms of what you're wanting, rather than trying to continue doing what you're doing and not getting anywhere and just feeling exhausted and frustrated, because we all know that's not a good feeling, right? The second sign that it is time for you to let go and to move on is when you are in a situation, and in this case a relationship dynamic, that is just full of stuff that you're tolerating. Okay, what do I mean by that? So negative things that are happening, like I mentioned, he calls up last minute, you haven't heard from him all day or all week, and you can sense that things have shifted a little bit, but you're not quite sure why. And then boom, he just calls and expects you to meet up with him last minute, or he's knocking at your door late at night, say 9, 10 o'clock at night, and you've got an early start in the morning. So if there's all these things that are cropping up, bad behaviour, as in just sort of, I don't know, making jokes at your expense, or turning up late on dates, or maybe ghosting at the last minute, not responding to your calls when you've got plans, not turning up, um, dropping you to go out with his mates, just things like that, that, you know, initially at the beginning of the relationship would not have been okay and would have been a red flag for you and made you think, no. Things like that, if that's happening and you just find yourself now in a situation where you are accepting stuff, like, you know, you go round to his to spend the evening and he's just sitting there watching the football, or, you know, he's, I don't know, on the phone to his friend, like, come on, that's not okay. One of the biggest traps that people fall into, especially in relationships, but when it comes to using the law of attraction, is there's always a focus on, how do I fix this? How do I make this okay again? How do I make it what I want it to be? And there's a lot of burden and responsibility that comes with that, which is just, it's really, it's a backward way of going about it, because the the fundamental core concept of the law of attraction is like attracts like, right? So again, when you are in a relationship that is just not serving you, and you feel like 50% or more of it is not good, it is not up to you to fix it or to take responsibility for why things are the way that they are. That, I mean, that is really powerful, what I've just said. And again, take a few minutes to really understand and, you know, sort of digest those words. What is happening that is negative is not your fault. If you are in a toxic relationship, if it is abusive, if you know in your heart of hearts that what you're tolerating is not making you happy and it's not okay, then you don't have to stay put. You don't have to accept it, and it is certainly not up to you to make it okay again. So that is when you decide for yourself right now, and again, it doesn't need to be any dramatic announcement of this is the new me and I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. It's simply a case of deciding, you know what, I'm taking a step back here, and I'm no longer tolerating what I don't find fulfilling, what isn't pleasing me. Okay, and if that balance is more than 50%, it's time to take the path of least resistance. It's time to, again, focus on the outcome, focus on the desire. Yes, nobody is asking you to give up the guy and to forget about him altogether if there is true love there. It's just about shifting your energy to, okay, well, this is what I want. And in this case, like, you'll find on the internet there is so much about manifesting a specific person. Please, please, please do not do that. If you are in a relationship that is, in your opinion, toxic, and it's just really hard going right now, and there's just so many questions that aren't being answered, and you're in confusion and despair, you can focus on love. You can focus on manifesting that beautiful relationship. But when it comes to the person in question, say to yourself, universe, God, I am now open and receptive to everything that this life has to offer me, and I am willing to accept whatever is in alignment with my highest good and my greatest joy. Okay, that is a mantra that I would like you to use every single day when you start sort of fixating on the problem and the dynamic of the relationship that's bringing you down and making you feel sad and depressed, unworthy and insecure and so on. Think this or something better is now manifesting for me with this person, or someone even better, someone who knocks this guy like completely out of the park in terms of league, right? In terms of standards, in terms of looks, in terms of money, in terms of the amount of like love and treatment and kindness that he's shown me, this this new guy potentially that is coming could be a billion times better than this one, the one that I'm currently dating. And I get, I understand if you are in love with someone and you do feel like this is the source of your happiness, this one individual. I totally get it. I understand. I've been married, I've been divorced, and it is heartbreaking to accept that that person potentially might not give you what you want, and that there is someone else out there, and you don't want to even entertain that when you're still in that mode. But just begin playing with the idea that everything that you have desired throughout your whole life in terms of love and in terms of being appreciated and respected, you've been accumulating this desire and shaping it and molding it over the years. So all the heartbreak and sadness and the tears have all contributed towards you shaping and molding that beautiful desire that you hold in your heart. And that can come from so many different places and people. That one person isn't going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not you receive that. That power lies with you and you alone. Okay? So just start thinking about things in that respect. And in terms of manifesting in a specific person, yes, you can do it. It can be done. But just give yourself and the universe that permission to play with the details. The third sign that it is time for you to let go and to move on is to establish how much of your relationship with you is being neglected versus the time and the effort and the energy that you're putting in to this other one. All right, now I know that might sound very similar to sign one, but the reason it is very different is because sign one is all about you giving, giving, giving. Sign three is kind of really a balancing act between, yes, being of service, being a nice person, and doing your best by other people that you love and you care about. But then it's also about establishing where the boundaries are and deciding for yourself, right, this is what I want, this is what I need, and this is the standard now. Nothing below that is making me unhappy is going to cut it. And if it does fall beneath those expectations in terms of this particular guy not calling me back, he's, I don't know, been flirting with other girls behind my back. I've seen pictures on Facebook, let's say, of him acting and behaving in a way that I find is disrespectful to me. Those kinds of things, you're now deciding, I'm not putting up with that anymore, and I'm not going to just sit around waiting for him to call me. I am going to go out with my friends, I'm going to get my hair done, I'm going to get my nails painted, I'm going to treat myself to a new dress, I'm going to do the things that I want to do, that I know that nourish and fulfill me without him in the equation. And without him being in the equation, I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about not forever, not okay, that's it, forget it, finite, it's done. But right now, instead of obsessing, instead of taking all that time and energy worrying and wondering about what he's doing, how can you put it towards yourself? So it's not just about deciding, okay, this ain't working for me. It's about restructuring that energy and that time and really supporting yourself, being your own biggest cheerleader and comforting yourself, loving yourself, and treating yourself in the same way that you would, say, a sister or a friend or a child that is kind of upset and hurting as well right now. Take that love and that kindness and direct it towards yourself, and make a specific plan as to how you're going to do that, so that next time he does call you at the last minute or pop out the blue, you can say, actually, you know what, I'm busy, and mean it, and that might take a little bit of practice in terms of building up that resolve. But I can promise you now, if your heart is in the right place and your desires are on point in terms of what you're focusing on, the love and the care and the kindness and the compassion that you know deep down that you deserve, if that's what you're aligning with, that will start to be reflected back to you either through him or someone else. Okay, and everyone else as well, in your family, your friendship circles, at work, you will start to see that shift right across the board. And that is why it is it is so important for you to really know the difference between trying to fix something in an attempt to make it better, or saying, you know what, I'm letting go of this, I'm letting go of this shit show, and I'm focusing on what it is that I truly want through myself, through how I'm thinking, through how I'm feeling, and through the choices that I'm making and the action that I'm taking. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, and I hope those three signs have helped give you clarity over what it is right now that you might be doing that's keeping yourself trapped and keeping you in that sort of state of inner struggle and conflict, and just being at war with yourself, where the universe is not able to step in and help, and you're not stepping aside to allow that time for you to just take a breath and say enough. Yeah, not from the desire but from the shit. And on that note, now is the perfect time for me to pull a Louise Hay card just for you. So, as I mentioned, How to Love Yourself is the deck that I'm using today. Sometimes I use Power Thought affirmation cards, but this deck is obviously a lot more suitable for the topic that we're discussing. So I'd like you to just take a moment to focus on your desire, the love that you want, that you deserve, that you need, and that deep down in your heart, that tiny little voice is saying to you that you're worthy of and that you deserve just as much as anyone else. Focus on that feeling, focus on that desire, and on that outcome. And trust that the card that I'm about to pull for you is going to be your new best friend for the next however many weeks. We've just recently had a solar eclipse, so now is the time for you to really focus. You've got that extra magical energy to work with, which is going to influence the next few years in not just your life but in all of our lives. So now is the best time to use words that love you and support you, and that remind you of how great you are. Okay. So the card that I have pulled is I am part of the harmonious whole, as we all are. And the back says, I know I am one with all life. I am the beauty and joy of the universe, expressing and receiving. So that last sentence there, which is actually a different colour from the rest of the text, expressing and receiving, is exactly what we've been talking about. When we breathe out, we need to breathe in at some point. Yeah, it's an ebb and a flow. If you look at the tide in the ocean, the tides in the ocean, you know, it comes in and it goes out again, and there always has to be a balance. So with this card, the energy that I'm really picking up on is that it's important for you now to understand that there is a harmony to everything, and there is a synchronicity, and there is a balance that is required in order for there to be peace and love and joy and overall happiness. And that applies for you too. So to say to yourself on a regular basis, I am part of the harmonious whole, as we all are. What that means is it's not just about you giving. It is about you allowing the components in your world, the people, the situations, and the outcomes to make their way to you too. Because if you are giving, you're not going to be coming from a harmonious place. You're going to be depleted, and you're going to feel completely empty. It's like a car running on empty. It's just going to burn out and end up at a standstill on the roadside. You can't do that. You can't allow yourself to be operating from that mental space. It's not beneficial to you or to anyone. So the 3 signs that I've explained and I've described to you, go through each one, think about which ones apply most to you, and the advice that I've sort of given with each one that I've explained, start implementing it in just little ways in your own life right now with the relationship dynamics. If it's career, think about how you can find more of a work-life balance. Follow your intuition. Use these words whilst you have them in your mind. Write them down and just remind yourself. You can personalize these affirmations as well. The affirmation cards that I give at the end of every video now, they're a guide more than anything else. So if you want to tweak the words and make it your own, by all means do that. And as long as it feels great when you're saying it and it feels empowering, then use them over and over again. Make a list, say it in front of the mirror, do whatever you've got to do to give yourself that nudge to feel better about yourself. And I can promise you that just a little bit of practice, it might feel weird at first, but when you start seeing the results that come about as a result of you doing that for yourself, you feel better, and then you see other people and their reactions towards you changing for the better, you will be amazed, and it will help you create that momentum and the confidence to keep going and to support yourself and work on the relationship that you have with you, because ultimately that's the only one that matters, right? And I get how it's easy to understand that conceptually, but in practice it can be hard when there's so many different things happening. If you enjoyed today's video and you found it helpful, then please do like, share, comment and subscribe. And if you love working with the law of attraction and you would like to go deeper into how the laws of the universe work and how you fit into that bigger picture, then check out my 14-day law of attraction miracle process below, which is a 14-day process, and it will help you to align with your destiny, and it will help you to uncover some of the deeper rooted insecurities, doubts and fears that perhaps you've been holding on to all this time, that are getting in the way of your bigger desires and ultimately your destiny and what the universe has in store for you and wants you to fulfill. Until next time, lots of love, take care, and I will speak with you again very soon.